Hey friends, I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Samieta, the intuitive psychiatrist, and you're listening to Stepping into Soul Power, the podcast where we help people regulate their emotions, connect with their intuition, and communicate better. So when a room is chaotic, most of us get really frustrated and we reach for the same tool and we try to say the right thing. We ask for quiet and raise our voice to be heard over the noise. But here's what almost nobody has taught us is that the fastest way to shift a room often isn't something you say at all. It's something you do. And today I'm joined by an energy healer, sound healer, intuitive yoga instructor, coach who works with the breath as a tool for exactly this, not just personal calm, but shifting the energy of an entire room, a group. We're going to talk about why it works, how it works, and how you can use it the next time a room feels like it's spinning out from under you. Laura Dunworth, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is so nice to be here, Elizabeth, and I'm really grateful to be here with your listeners. And so, I've got a lot to say about this topic. So first of all, we know that energy is felt and everything is energy, and we can walk into a room and feel the energy if it's a room that's excited and joyful, or if it's a room that has just had tension and arguments and that kind of a thing. And energy tends to be contagious. And I find that if we have an elevated frequency and a state of calm, oftentimes others can feed off of that, and it can help them calm and regulate their nervous systems as well. And I kind of play with this sometimes. I will be in a situation where maybe there's some tension. I will come back to my breath. I will come back to, if you are able to, placing a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, and kind of just feeling into your breath, feeling into the belly breath, the heart breath, the full inhale through your nose, the exhale through your mouth, really kind of getting into that calm nervous state. And then oftentimes just also focusing on an emotion of gratitude, of peace. Maybe it's just being grateful for a beautiful day, being grateful for the people that you love. We tend to get into these states of heart coherence with our gratitude and with our breath. And I will find that if you're doing this and you're coming to a place of calm yourself, people will actually come up to meet you. Or if they don't want to come up to meet you, they will leave. And it's interesting, right? It's like people are drawn to elevated frequencies, but if they're really kind of wanting to stay stuck in their lower energy, their energy of fear or confrontation, they won't want to be with someone who is having that calming frequency. But more often than not, you can calm yourself and others can kind of just intuitively, it's kind of like, I'll have what she's having. I want to feel that way too.
Yeah.
And we get into our bodies, we get into our breath, and it's a really, really powerful thing. It's so interesting to kind of play with that.
Yes.
With
Yes.
that energy.
Well, I have a question for you. What first drew you to breathwork specifically as a tool for groups rather than just individual practice?
Well, so I'll tell you a little bit about my history. I used to be an elementary school teacher, and I would find, like you said, kind of coming in from recess or getting ready to take a test and needing tools to help the kids settle down. So I kind of dabbled a little bit in the breath work when I was working with children. And I've actually written 2 books, a breath work book for parents and children, and then a book for teachers and students, which teach the children and the educators and parents different breathing techniques, box breathing, where we do a little bit of holding, breathing to a rhythmic beat, different types of techniques of breath work. But what I found personally where I really started delving into breath work is when I had a personal loss. My younger brother passed away about almost 30 years ago, and I was going through grief that I was having a really hard time navigating. And I found that my body was holding on to the emotions, holding on to tension and sadness and grief and overwhelm. And I needed tools. And so I started looking into different techniques, working with the nervous system, and breathwork was one that is ancient. It's been around. Obviously, we've been breathing since the beginning of time, but people have been using breathwork in all cultures for so long. And so I found that I could regulate my nervous system and I could actually release those trapped emotions through these different breathing techniques. It was really a powerful way to work with grief and overwhelm.
Wow. You've worked with different types of people. Is there a particular moment in a classroom, in a meeting that really, really touched your heart?
Well, we're all navigating so much right now. Everybody has their challenges. And I've been working a little more closely lately with children and their parents, or with teens and their parents.
Yeah.
I find that
God bless you.
we have so many distractions, right? And the teens do. I mean, these these things, the social media, the scrolling, the phones, the comparison. There's never been a time where we've been so stimulated. So I find that so many of the things that I teach really go hand in hand. We have to, first of all, pay attention to what we're feeding ourselves, not just with our healthy food and water, but what are we consuming? What are we watching? What are we listening to? Who are the people that we're associated with? So many folks they never set their scrolling down, or they never turn off the television. And we're constantly taking in energies, right? And most of them are not very calming. And so as far as a particular moment, I've been working more and more with stressed out kids and teens and their parents, and bringing awareness to everyday life. Okay, let's pay attention to what we're taking in, and let's work on these tools that are going to help our bodies, our minds, our spirits relax and feel safe in this world.
Yeah. I mean, teens and their parents, you can get lots of different things with that. Could you give us an example, like a little, a smidge, like a sample of like what something like that might look like?
Sure. Well, so sometimes I'll work kind of one-on-one with families, and, we'll kind of talk about where we feel that tension in our bodies. And I think that's a really good one for teens is, okay, you know what? I might be thinking these things in my head. And when we focus on certain thoughts, they tend to, as you know, they cycle, they repeat, we get caught in these loops. But where do we feel it in our bodies? And I was a child of divorced parents, and my parents divorced when I was about 5 years old. And I remember feeling like I had to keep it all together. And I was really tense all the time. And my hands would sweat like uncontrollably. And so we kind of talk about, okay, what does your body do? Are you feeling it in your heart? Are you sweating? Is your breathing fast? Oftentimes it's kids who are dealing with maybe divorced parents feeling like they maybe can't be angry with their parents, or they are trying to keep it all together because they've kind of maybe had to be the adult in the relationship. And so becoming the observer is I think the hardest thing that we can do, but observing that, okay, these are emotions and thoughts. They're not who we are. We can take a step back and go, okay, I'm feeling this in my body. I'm thinking these thoughts. It's really painful. I feel it in my chest, or I feel it in my digestion. That was a big one for me too, is I can't digest these emotions. So I have stomach aches all the time. And noticing that our bodies are a direct reflection of what's going on energetically with our minds and our hearts. And so trying to teach kids, teens to go, okay, let's take a deep breath. Where are we feeling this? What are we noticing? Can we kind of watch ourselves like we're watching a movie and take a step back and go, okay, that's not who I am. And these thoughts and feelings will pass. They're not who I am. I can watch them, observe them, thank them for the information, and then let them go.
Yes. Remembering that nothing is forever, everything is transient. and that eventually hard times pass. I
Yes.
guess for adults who are walking into chaotic environments, is there something that you might recommend they do when they're stepping into a chaotic situation?
Well, I think that becoming present,
Mm,
becoming centered. Oftentimes, if I'm walking into a situation that I know might be challenging, I just take a moment, I sit down, I say, okay, I can feel whatever's underneath me. I can feel the chair underneath me. I can notice the air on my skin. Tune into my breath, feeling it in your belly first, feeling your heart expand, that deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, trying not to get too caught up in all of the, I like to call it future outcome possibilities of this could go
yes.
wrong and that could go wrong and this could happen and that could happen. But right now in this moment, everything's okay. I'm safe. I'm calm, I'm centered, I'm present. And I think getting yourself calm and present and centered, and then walking into a situation, trying to do maybe more listening, at least at first, connecting with people, looking at them in the eyes, really trying to listen to their hearts, really trying to,
Yes.
give them the benefit of the doubt and really trying to listen fully before you respond, because so many times we just tend to react, right? We just tend to react.
Yes.
Something might set us off, we tend to react. And being a yoga teacher, I have to let my words land when I'm teaching a class. I have to say something and then let it land, and it's really helped me become a better communicator because I'm doing more listening, I'm doing more observing, I'm very, very present in the moment. And I think that helps tremendously when you're walking into a stressful situation, is to just get yourself present and centered.
I love that. What you described, they sound like getting grounded, grounding techniques, not getting caught up in the future and catastrophic thinking and just being present and centered. We have two ears and one mouth for a reason. And
Exactly.
listening, it is so important. It's an important form of communication that often gets underrated.
Exactly, exactly. And back to your point real quick on grounding, if you can step outside for a moment and you can feel the sun on your skin, and if you get a chance and you could take your shoes off and put your feet in the grass on the ground, literal grounding with the energetics of the earth is so powerful. But just taking a breath of fresh air, listening to the birds for a moment, just nature is so healing and grounding. And so that is a really great thing to do before you walk into a situation that could possibly be stressful or tense.
Yes, yes. And are there any things that you recommend after having been in a situation that has been chaotic?
For me, it's movement paired with breath. So
Mm,
we carry all of our emotions and tensions in our physical body. A massage therapist will say the issues are in the tissues. And I know, isn't that good?
I
If
love
you
it.
can maybe do some stretching with your breath, just conscious movement, going for a walk. I'm also a big fan of EFT, emotional freedom technique, which is
Yeah.
tapping on acupressure points. You're tapping on those points that the acupuncturist would be placing the needles, but you can do this yourself. And each of these points correlates to an energy center or an organ in your body. And you are literally tapping out the tension, the emotion, the stress, the trauma. It is a phenomenal technique that is used for, everything from PTSD to headaches and allergies, where we're moving energy. So, whether it's yoga or a walk in nature or a little bit of self-tapping, movement, I feel, is a really, really great way to release and let go of that trapped energy.
And you said movement paired with breath. Why?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, our breath does so much for us when we are moving and breathing in kind of a rhythmic way. Whether it's inhale, arms up, exhale, arms down, or something like that. We're not only oxygenating our body in the proper way. Because when we're stressed and tense, we tend to breathe from our chest very shallowly. And so we are taking in too much oxygen. We're creating oxidative stress. And so when we breathe in a very slow, rhythmic way, we're creating, not only the perfect amount of oxygen in our bodies, but we're also creating a vibration that vibrates our vagus nerve, which also helps to bring us into that parasympathetic state, and we're out of the fight or flight. So it's the conscious breath, the conscious movement. It all works together to bring you back to that grounded and centeredness that, believe it or not, is actually our true nature, right? That's
Yeah.
that's what we're supposed to be like.
Yes. I was just thinking, you had started off as an elementary school teacher. And when you're introducing, because some people might be like, oh, I've been breathing since I was born. You know, might feel
Right.
awkward being told how to breathe. Like, how do you introduce this without it feeling forced or strange?
Well, I tell people that it takes time. So my husband is a great example. I started
Okay.
teaching him breath work probably about a year ago, and his response was really great. He said, it kind of stresses me out to think about breathing. And I was like, yeah, I guess that could definitely be the case, because that's the one function that our bodies have where it's automatic, thank goodness, but we can also control it and regulate it. But the first time you start paying attention to your breath, it feels pretty foreign, and it can
Mm.
kind of bring up a little anxiety. And so I start people out with just that slow rhythmic breathing, listening to maybe some gentle music. Then we can maybe move into some gentle breath holding, because again, when we hold the breath, we regulate the oxygen and get it to where it needs to be. But just knowing that it's a process like anything, it's a learning curve. It's natural, but we can control our breathing. And with that control of breath, we can regulate our blood pressure. We can help our sleep patterns, all of these things. So I have some recorded practices that some of them are 2 minutes long, some of them are 20 minutes long. And you just kind of go through, I have a 21-day breathwork course, and it really, it starts out slowly. It's like, okay, let's just notice what that brings up. If that brings up anxiety, and go, okay, that brought up anxiety. It's all right. It's not going to last. And I'll come back to it and maybe try it again for a little bit longer tomorrow. And pretty soon you get to a point where you're like, oh, wow, this is in my toolbox. This is something I use every day, because it really makes me calm, helps me in my life.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize this. It can be incredibly powerful. And there's such a wide range of what breath work can look like. And I wonder if
True.
you could talk about some of the different types. Like, I know there's holotropic breath work. There's a lot out there, but I guess, are there specific types that you found to be particularly helpful?
Yes. And you're right. The holotropic breath work does get into some pretty, deep emotional healing. I typically stay a little bit more surface. I don't typically get into the hyperventilating breath work. I stay with the full diaphragmatic breathing breath work. But, when I'm working with the kids, I always like to tell them that our Navy SEALs, and I'm sure other highly trained specialists and people in stressful situations, use box breathing, which is just a
Yeah.
rhythmic breathing where you inhale for a count of 4, you hold your breath for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, and you hold for a count of 4. So just kind of like a box. And that just, your brain, your body, your breath all come into a very synchronized place. So box breathing is one that I teach. I teach a stair-step breathing. A lot of these visuals I have for kids where, you inhale, you hold your breath, you inhale again, you hold your breath, and then you exhale like you're sliding down a playground slide. So
Oh,
I
I
call
love
that
that.
stair-step
Love
breathing. I
it.
know, right? Humming. One of the things we do in yoga is we chant Om and the different chants, and the reason why the yogis do that is because of that humming vibration. So you don't have to, you can sing, you can hum in the car. For the kids, I teach them, we call it honeybee breathing, where we just inhale and we hum like a bee sound. And again, not only does that regulate the oxygen in the breath, but it creates a deeper vibration with that vagus nerve. So those are some of my favorites. I tell people, do it in the car, turn on the radio and hum along to whatever song is on the radio. And you will be surprised by the end of the song, you will be pretty calm.
Yes, yeah. Humming is known to activate the parasympathetic nervous system that relaxes us. So I love the examples that you're giving because these are all practical things that people can do on their own. I wonder
Yes.
for facilitators, for teachers where their nervous system matters. Like, I guess, how does a facilitator or teacher's nervous system end up shaping the room, whether they realize it or not?
Exactly. Well, just like we were talking about in the beginning, if you are in a calm state, then you're going to broadcast that. It really is kind of a psychic energy kind of a thing where you are in a calm state. You're going to broadcast that through your energetic field and people pick up on it. And so, yes, for people who are, I remember Tony Robbins talking about that he would just do a little breath work and get real calm and present so that he could go out there and do his thing and stay in this high vibration. So it has a lot to do with you are, for lack of a better word, you're controlling the energy in the room. You are going in there in this high vibration state. You are calm and grounded and centered. And people will pick up on that. And most of the time, they'll end up mimicking you because it's just kind of a subconscious thing that they pick up on. It's really neat.
Wow. If someone listening today remembers one thing about breath work, what would you want it to be?
Well, just that these tools are right here at your fingertips. I mean, obviously having teachers and counselors and doctors and people, we need a team, but to be able we need support, but to be able to learn these tools on your own so that you can pull them out anytime. You can pull them out anytime. If you feel like you are having an anxious moment, you can just tune into the right now. Like I said, what am I feeling right now? Can I feel the air on my skin? Can I feel the breath moving through me? Maybe step outside, get a little glimpse of sunshine and nature sounds and say, okay, what? I don't need to be in the future. I don't need to be in the past because right now in the present, I'm safe. I'm fine. Everything is well. And so just, tuning into that breath and tuning into the moment. Really, really, really powerful, really simple, and something that we can just practice day in and day out. So it becomes more of who we are, more of our natural state is available to us.
That is so beautiful. It is so that it becomes more of who we are, our natural state. Lovely. Can you tell our audience how can they best connect with you?
Well, thank you. So my website's easy. It's just my name, lauradunworth.com. And on my website, I have links. I have links to some free resources. I have a YouTube channel with some recorded guided breath work and meditations that are free. I also have my books. I have my children's breathwork books for parents and children, teachers and classrooms. Working on the teen one right now, should have that done soon. And I also have another beautiful book called Remembering the Light, an Awakening Journey Through Grief, Signs, and Sacred Remembering. And it is about waking up to the subtleties, the synchronicities, the signs all around us. Maybe we've lost a loved one and remembering that, we have helpers seen and unseen. So that's my latest book. And it's a really beautiful resource for anybody who's going through grief right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Part of the reason why I was really excited about this conversation is that you've worked with people through the ages, through all different types. And I truly believe that we need to invest in our kids. And I love the fact that you have breathwork, like instruction, like have fun things that you can do with your kids because
Yes.
it brings people together. It's like good for you and good for the kids, good for the family.
Exactly. It's a family activity. And I've had
Yeah.
so many parents tell me, oh my gosh, I bought this for my child and I've learned so much from it. And I'm humming, I'm doing the honeybee breathing. And all of these
Yeah.
activities are, 2 to 3 minutes long. And I've got some journal prompts where they can kind of observe their emotions, what they're feeling. But it's a family affair. And it is a really beautiful thing to teach children these tools at such a young age so that they can take them with along on the ride of this sometimes stressful journey of life.
Yes. Well, Laura Dunworth, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
If you haven't heard it yet today, I appreciate you. The soul in me honors the soul in you. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe or click here. And friends, if this spoke to you, leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you.